You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Welcome, everybody, to the Eternal Tournament Series. We are in Season 1, Week 5 here. I am Gabe, also known as Calimdir, and I'm joined by Sir Rhino in the casting booth today to break down all the action. How's it going?
It's going well. Yeah, we took a nice little mid-season break there, so both the production and, of course, all the players got to rest, relax, regroup, and now we're coming back to finish the second half of this season and ramp up towards the Invitational.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see a lot of metagame shift this week. We saw people thinking Argenport was going to be super dominant 2 weeks ago, and then people came out with the bigger Argenport 3-faction list, and now we get to see what the evolution is from there.
Right. We had one ETS open since the patch dropped a little over 2 weeks ago. So there's been a lot of time since then for the metagame to kind of shift and adjust. And as you said, a big part of that move towards these removal pile decks is the elegant, lovely name for it. A kind of a throwback to what Kamado used to bring down the last World Championship. And now the metagame's reacting to that. We're seeing a lot of Mokdos on the rise and these resilient, hard to remove units that can keep coming back, especially with Steward of the Past getting nerfed. These revenge units are a lot more appealing. And now we're seeing how the meta is starting to react to that, right? It's not just Tavrod being the boogeyman. He's been kind of pushed out. And now the new kings on top are this removal pile deck, and then a lot of these decks with a lot of charge units, because charge units are really great into piles of decks with relic weapons and slow speed removal like Vanquish and Slay.
Yeah, absolutely. But for this matchup, we get to see one of the new archetypes that came with the expansion and an older archetype with some new tools.
Yeah.
So we have the Stone Scar Gunslingers deck over here, piloted by Magikarp, and Batteriez on a Moment of Creation deck, which I think is really cool. Some new tools for patch.
Yeah, so Stone Scar Gunslingers and Gunslingers in general got a big boost from the last patch, notably in Hideout Pistol, which is a 4 of in Magikarp's list. Now it's +2 strength rather than +1 strength. So when you put this on a Gunslinger, it kills something with less strength than that Gunslinger. So that extra boost of strength on the Hideout Pistol means it can kill a lot more stuff out there. And plus that unit's hitting harder now. So it's a double buff in that regard. So that's one of the big payoffs for going Gunslingers. The other one is you get to play Common Cause, so extra fixing in your deck is very nice. And as you can see, it's not too different from your normal Stone Scar aggro deck. It's a little bit slower. You're not seeing your Pyro Knights and Oni Ronins. And really, you're swapping Cinder Yeti for Cabal Countess, which isn't that big of a downgrade. And in a lot of these matchups, it's an upgrade with that ambush unit.
Yeah, especially in a metagame full of relic weapons, Cabal Countess can be great. And on the other side, we have the Moment of Creation deck, which is making use of the Change to Devastating Setback, and then also just updated to run a little bit more hand disruption than typical.
Yep, so this is a big fat control deck, but it's got some Haymaker units in there that can generate value, like Ion. We were just talking about how good Ambush is, and Heart of the Vault is Heart of the Vault, and then Moment of the Creation is the big top end where you plop down 2 must answer threats. So this metagame has a lot of boards where there aren't a lot of units on board, like if you're running into removal pile. So you don't need these threats to have evasion in a lot of these matchups because there's nothing to evade past. The other thing I really like about this deck is that it's a home for Vara's Choice, which I think is really strong right now with how much Mokdo and Ikaria is out there. Vara's Choice just rips those right out of hand, and you don't have to worry about it. Also, is a clean answer to these charge units if you know those are sitting in hand as well. So, really happy to see Vara's Choice showing up in the metagame too.
Yeah, definitely. So as we start to jump into this match here, who do you think is going to be the favorite?
This is a tough one to call. I don't think I can ever call a deck with 4 Ancient Lore and 4 Death Strike a favorite. I just those cards are just so expensive and clunky that that makes me nervous. But Batteriez has the tools to combat this deck, no doubt about it. 4 Torch, the Purifies, Banish, Ion, Devastating Setback. He can answer this early these early threats from Magikarp. But I think I'm still going to give the edge to the aggro deck here.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the edge to Gunslingers as well. I think the big thing that's really missing from the main board and the sideboard here from some of the older Moment of Creation decks is Stray into Shadow, which I think would be really good here. And a lot of Magikarp's threats dodge the -2/-2 from Devastating Setback. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, it is interesting because even Magikarp's 4 and 5 drops die to Devastating Setback. Bandit Queen, Highwayman, and Soulfire Drake all have 2 health, but I think he'll be able to get in. Magikarp will get enough chip damage to finish this off before Batteriez can turn it around in most games. Batteriez' only life gain is those 4 Ion, which get answered by Torch, and he doesn't really have any other Torch targets. So that lack of life gain could be an issue here for Batteriez if he stumbles out the gates.
Sure, yeah. One of the players is just taking a break for a second. They'll be right back. So before we get into that, the other card that I think makes Stray a lot better is Jack. I think one Jack activation just Batteries. But if Jack's living on the battlefield, I think it's going to be over very quickly anyway.
Yeah, and Vicious Highwayman has Warcry, so once that gets a Warcry, probably the next unit they draw is dodging step back as well. So there's a lot of things going on, but this game is underway. Magikarp's got a 2-drop and a 4-drop, and maybe Quarry can find something in the middle. Batteriez, in the meantime, is going to sabotage that Quarry and has a pretty slow hand here. Has that Ion, but has to use Find the Way to start digging for power. Although draws a Shadow Sigil off the top. Of course, Magikarp drew the Torch for Ion here. So that's fortunate on both ends.
Yeah, so Magikarp is still going to get his Warcry in, but he's not going to get any damage here because Ion is blocking the Outlaw. Next turn, Batteriez only really has 3 power available because Find the Way is going to get him a depleted power, so he might opt to Quarry or just, okay, yeah. So this is a kind of a blank turn here.
Yeah.
But Magikarp doesn't have much going on other besides, okay, I was going to say besides the Vicious Highwayman, but drawing a Champion of Chaos is pretty good here.
Yeah, so now Magikarp had the option of slamming the Highwayman and getting in for 6 damage and 2 extra Warcries, but instead gonna deploy out the Champion of Cunning or Chaos and hold the Highwayman for now.
The other thing, I saw a lot of Stonescar Gunslingers lists not running Champion of Chaos, which sure it's not a gunslinger, but I feel like that card's just a little too good to pass up.
Yeah, you've got some other options in that spot. Like if you want to go even harder on gunslingers, you can play like Milos, Azaleo. Yeah. But the problem with playing him is he's just not as good as Champion of Chaos, and you have plenty of other gunslingers. Like in all of these common cause decks, you have room for like maybe 5 or 6 not gunslingers. Yeah. Like we see the 3 Soulfire Drakes, and they decided to go Champion of Chaos alongside that.
I actually don't mind First Shot Rider because it has all the weapon synergies, but there aren't any of those in this deck, so they're not here. And Torch going to take care of this Vicious Highwayman before it gets to attack, before it gets that Warcry, and because he gets to respond to the the summon effect.
Yeah, Batteriez still in a rough spot here. Can't cast Heart of the Vault. Can cast Maiden, sitting at 14, but Magikarp's got the Obliterate to line up here. I did want to highlight the one spot where I thought Batteriez could have an edge in this matchup is that Magikarp has 4 main deck Annihilates and Batteriez has no Annihilate targets. That didn't come up this game. Magikarp never saw an Annihilate, didn't have to worry about that hole in his game plan.
Yeah, and thanks to the combination of Deadly and Overwhelm, Batteriez is dead next turn. Unless I don't know that there's a draw here off of Ancient Lore that he can cast.
Yeah, if the Champion of Chaos didn't have that one Warcry, the Ancient Lore could have found a Torch to kill it. But because it did, I don't think there's anything you can draw off Ancient Lore that deals with it. But we'll see the Crest come out first, sees a Devastating Setback, which will get bottomed. I guess, yeah. Oh, Heart of the Vault hitting Champion of Chaos and then drawing Torch could do it? No.
Almost.
Oh, so if he had gone Heart of the Vault, hit Champion of Chaos, played undepleted power, that Devastating Setback would have cost 1. Would have been able to cast it and kill Champion of Chaos.
Yeah.
So,
whoops.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where you don't know.
Yeah, and the same thing
Right.
for
It's like a
Banish as well.
yeah. So I guess Heart of the Vault plus a torch or a devastating setback would have done it. So he could have Batteries could have thought about that line, but instead he went for the scout first, off the depleted power, and then decided to. I don't know. With Heart of the Vault, I think you wait to scout then, but maybe not because you're just digging for specifically torch plus Heart of the Vault, right? That's a guaranteed 2 burn spell. It just so happened the one card that punished that was what was on top.
Yeah, he
So,
had the banner in hand, so he could have just left Devastating Setback there. And
right, but then he wouldn't have had the power to cast it because he'd
uh,
already played the crest. You
oh,
don't
so never mind. Yeah,
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 you
yeah, yeah.
don't know setbacks on top of your deck until you play the crest. that's the catch there. Would have
Whoops.
already had to know that the card was specifically up top. I think
So,
it was correct to scout first.
yeah. So how do you feel about Moondial in this matchup? Think it's slow enough for Moondial?
Yeah, I don't expect Moondial to come in over all these other options. Batteries does have his Vicious Highwayman of his own in the side. I don't think those come in though when they have 0 targets to kill.
Yeah. I don't think they come in here. I think they're more for Oniron and Grenadin type matchups.
Yeah,
The cards
there's a
I'm looking at for me personally are the extra Saturated Maiden, the extra Banish, and perhaps the extra Purifies and Annihilates.
Yeah, Banish especially is awesome against any aggro deck that's Highwaymans and all. Just hits so many threats. It just misses out on the Jeks and Soulfire Drakes. Annihilate's pretty good too because the only card Annihilate's miss. Well,
Right, yeah,
it
it
misses some
quite
pretty
a
big
few.
ones. You
Yeah.
know, missing Champion of Chaos and things. And the thing is, Batteries is already playing a lot of removal, so it's a question of does he want to change any or just pile on more, right? Death Strikes are pretty expensive. I could see that number getting shaved down.
I could see setbacks coming out maybe. I mean,
Okay.
like we said, it does take care of a lot of units. Takes care of Bandit Queen, Highwayman, Soulfire Drake, and Outlaw, which are all important units, and Countess. But Countess and Highwayman and Queen all have charge or come in at end of turn to attack.
Yeah.
So it loses a lot of value.
Looks like the second game is underway here. The challenge is out and accepted. On Magikarp's side, I think the Annihilates are coming out. It's really a question of what's coming in. Probably just a Sabotage swap would be my guess.
Yeah.
Just bring those in and disrupt. Your opponent just plays a billion spells. Hit something every time.
And I don't think this is the Flame matchup because one Moment of Creation just put that card completely out.
Yeah, and I don't think this is where you're bringing in your Grenadin Drone either. That's more of an anti-aggro card in this deck, not an anti-like.
Unless you're in the Icaria mirror. So yeah, good opener here from Magikarp, getting a 2-drop on 2, which is really the best he can ask for. And then on Battery side, struggling to find Fire Influence.
Yeah. That hurts here. He has an Annihilate, but doesn't want to use it on this Outlaw, accepting the 2 damage and the Warcry hit. We might see the Annihilate here, though. Okay, because I imagine you're going to banish this Champion of Chaos, so you're just accepting that this Outlaw is going to do 4+ damage to you, plus the Warcries. I mean, with 2 Annihilates in hand, I think I would have shot one off.
I don't think they had Annihilate. I don't think they had power. They played 2. Oh yeah, no, they did.
Yeah, they played 2 undepleted seats, so they had the option. Batteries had the option of annihilating this Outlaw and chose not to.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of an inefficient power there.
Yeah, it's like I understand you see a torch and a setback in hand, and you're like, well, both of these enter Outlaw. Why should I use an annihilate against a deck with Jeks and Soulfire Drakes? But at the same time, I think you're discounting the threat of those Warcries a little too much. But here comes the Sabotage from Magikarp. Didn't want to play out a Highwayman there, instead opting to disrupt the hand a bit more.
Gets to see basically Battery's entire hand. The only card hidden is Heart of the Vault.
Yeah. And opts to take the setback. Knows that currently the Quarry and Torch aren't playable. And taking a redundant Annihilate, I can see why you would hesitate to do that. You don't know what threat you're drawing in the future. I don't love taking setback there, honestly, though. Even though it was probably what they're going to use to kill Outlaw there, it can't kill really anything else coming from you forward except this Highwayman.
Yeah.
Out comes the Highwayman, setbacks the draw for turn, and that'll just clean that up. Now, Magikarp knows about this second Annihilate, and awkwardly has this Rakano Outlaw that they drew. This
Yeah,
is where,
which conveniently dodges a setback.
yeah, it would have dodged setback. Of course, Batteriez drew a second one of those, and finds a Fire Source, although it has a Heart of the Vault on top of the deck. Not exactly tantalizing here. So Batteriez has the option to quarry that Heart away, but then you're going to be taking a hit from Outlaw, and decides to just go ahead and annihilate that instead.
And obviously, Batteriez doesn't know what's in Magikarp's hand, but I think you got to take the risk that maybe they're not trying to hide a Jack or something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, at 16, and your opponent's deck having as many charge units as it does, every point of damage you take does matter. Hopefully, this Ion can dig him out of it, but Batteriez has probably noticed these pauses at this point, and there isn't many cards that would cause those pauses other than. Magikarp finds a Bandit Queen, but it's only got 3 health, so it's going to eat one of these torches that are sitting in Batteriez' hand.
Yeah, Magikarp is starting to run out of steam here. If Batteriez can draw up to 6 power and get 3 fire influence, he's going to take over this game very quickly.
Yeah, and this devastating setback is going to rip a torch out of Magikarp's hand real quick, clear the way for this Ion to start hopefully gaining Batteriez some health. And all right, Magikarp finds a second charge unit. Now he's got to decide which one to deploy here. I don't think he's going to keep holding both, but it's possible.
I think this is a situation where if you've seen all the pauses, you might just throw the Vicious Highwayman out and not use its summon effect just to get the.
Mm-hmm. Now, instead, Queen is the weapon of choice for Magikarp here, but I kind of like your thought too there with playing out Highwayman first instead, trying to get that Warcry value at the very least. So Sabotage the draw from Batteriez does not use it here.
He knows that there's a Varus Favor in there, so he knows it won't miss, but Varus Favor is not really a prime target for Sabotage. Banish is a good draw here.
Yeah, Banish is big, and here we'll see the Sabotage come out, letting one more draw step happen. The last card, Batteriez does not know what it is. And now has to decide, does he offer the trade with Ion? Does he just go ahead and banish this Champion of Chaos? Because there aren't really many better banished targets than a Champion of Chaos anyways. What do you think?
Well,
there we go.
So he goes for the Banish. I kind of like using the Banish because neither of them can take care of Jack, but Torch can take care of Soulfire Drake.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the big sell for me.
I think the only question really is, do you offer the trade or do you use the removal? He opted to just use the removal right away, and now Ion's got him safely back to 21.
Against a deck that's this aggressive, I think you just want to be gaining that 3 life and just put the game out of Magikarp's reach as quickly as possible.
So Magikarp keeps drawing charge units, but now there's a Maiden in the way. Bandit Queen can swing into it, but dealing 4 damage and then getting hit back for at least 5, that's not a great spot to be when you're already at less health than your opponent now.
Yeah, Ion is just putting in too much work, I think. I mean, sure, Batteriez might not. All right, so with the Find the Way, now within 2 turns, he'll be able to play these Heart of the Vaults.
Yep, so Batteriez, this game going about as well as he could hope for, right? Use those Sabotages to make sure they don't have an answer to Ion and start connecting with Ion, gain that life, stabilize. And yeah, now these Heart of the Vaults will come out eventually.
Yep. So, obviously, not as good as the super draw of Sabotages, Find the Ways, setbacks, Vera choices into like 10-10 moments. But, you know,
this is rough for Magikarp here. Using the Highwayman to trade with Maiden gets Maiden out of the picture, but now that cudgel can go on Ion, and a 5/5 Ion's even harder to deal with for Magikarp. So I think you had to make that play. You can't just sit there and not attack because, again, you're attacking you every turn, but it's just a rough spot.
Yeah, at this point, there isn't really much Magikarp can do here.
Highwayman did come in for Batteriez, but we're not going to see it this game as part of the vault takes out Highwayman, and we're going to see the scoop from that.
Yeah, so do you think going into game 3 either player changes much?
I am kind of surprised that Highwayman came in. I guess that's just another source of life gain is the thought. Like if you do get it in play and start killing things, Highwayman gets that life steal activated for a couple turns.
Yeah, we
Is
saw
the
how
idea.
good Ion was just as a 3/3 lifesteal.
Yeah, so the idea with Highwayman there is, yeah, it's not always going to kill anything, but if you get it in play and all of your other spells are killing things, you'll get some life gain from it. So
Yeah.
I can buy that as a reason to bring in some number of Highwaymen.
Yeah, I think Highwayman's fine. The question is, what did he take out, and was it really Highwayman? Players should be getting back in pretty soon. Like they're setting out the challenge right now.
Yeah, maybe Magikarp saw that last match and thought, if I didn't bring in Suffocate yet, maybe I should do that instead. Again, I don't know exactly what he changed up in his previous sideboarding. Challenge is out, and we should be.
Yeah, I don't love Suffocate. Sure, it does hit Statuary Maiden.
And
but,
Ion.
It's pretty bad versus Ion. You really want to be able to kill Ion before he value from his ambush.
Right. Again, other than taking out Annihilate, I don't know what else Magikarp took out. So, and you want to play those sabotages. So then it's a question of, is Suffocate better than anything else that's already in your deck, or even other things in your sideboard like Steward and Obliterate? And the answer is probably not. Probably not.
This is a slow hand from Batteriez. 3 crests and 2 find the ways.
Yeah, he'll eventually get to cast everything in his deck if he's alive. That's the big if. So the turn 1 Sabo from Magikarp here has a pick of both Sabotage or Annihilate, Banish, or Setback. Previously, Magikarp took Setback in this spot with two health units in hand. Don't know if he'll go that route again here.
Yeah, so I like Annihilate here because next turn you're playing the Rakano Outlaw. There's just no two ways about it. You don't have anything else to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that sets him back. And he might use the Banish on the Outlaw, and then your Champion of Chaos is good to go.
Yep, I can agree with that. I think that's a fine line. Batteriez plays a crest, and I believe kept that Quarry that he saw on top of his deck, and then sabotages away of Vera's favor. But Magikarp just draws the Shadow Sigil anyways. He'll be curving out with no issue here.
Yeah, and he had Common Cause anyway.
I'm a little surprised Batteriez kept that Quarry on top.
Yeah, I think when you have 2 Find the Ways in hand already, you don't want... I mean, Quarry can accelerate you a little bit if it draws you into the right thing, but you have to take a turn off to do it. So
yeah,
not what you want in this spot.
Yeah, and by bottoming it, you give yourself a chance at drawing an undepleted power off the top with an Ion and Setback and Banish in hand. So, yeah, because look at that. Time Sigil was the draw that turn. So you would have been able to play a 3-drop last turn instead of getting really far behind by casting Find the Way.
Right now, in 2 turns, Magikarp's going to have potentially this Soulfire Drake, which Batteriez does not have an answer for. This Quarry might find one. Ian going to try and deal with this Rakano Outlaw. He faces a decision of just using Setback right now or passing. And then now it's Ion versus Banish. Do you want to deal with Champion of Chaos before it gets out of hand, or just stop Rakano Outlaw right now and get the life?
Yeah, I like the potential upside here of just eating Outlaw with Ion, depending on what Magikarp does here. And Magikarp opts to not even play Highwayman, try and bluff, I guess. But I mean, if they have Ion, they're gonna play Ion, and now you missed out on Highwayman damage.
So Ion obviously
you get the Highwayman post combat here and take out the Ion, which is really
Highwayman, or rather blocking the Rakano Outlaw, obviously much higher upside. Ion living, as we saw, is devastating for him.
That was actually really good by Magikarp now that I'm thinking about it. Like, just reading the Ion and being like, all right, if they have it, I don't have an answer to Ion. But I do if I let them eat my Rakano Outlaw and play Highwayman post-combat. Where the other way to play around Ion there was to play
Highwayman
Highwayman
pre-combat and then attack with
pre-combat.
only the 2/4 attack unit.
Yeah, and I'm not sure which I like more.
This leaves you with more attack on the board afterwards, but you do miss out on a bit of damage.
Yeah, but you also kill their Ion, which is pretty. Where in the other situation, they would either play the Banish if they had the Banish, or they play out the Ion and start attacking you with that. So here we see Batteriez opt to go with the Quarry. Doesn't want to use Setback or Banish here unless he finds a depleted power. Has the Varus choice to use, though, in various ways. And we don't know what Batteriez is looking at right now.
We'll find out shortly, though. Varus choice would be very good if Batteriez decides to play, but he doesn't know. He does not know that there is a Soulfire Drake waiting in the wings.
Yeah, it'd be pretty crazy for Batteriez to use Varus choice on Magikarp's hand in this spot with how much pressure is on board. Instead, just going with the Find the Way to guarantee 2 spells next turn, and means that he's going to take a big hit this turn. Thrall's a pretty big instigator, and it looks like he's going to opt to play that out rather than hit with Soulfire Drake because Magikarp saw the setback.
Right?
Yeah, Magikarp saw the setback, so knows that if he plays out Soulfire Drake, he's getting 2-for-1 to right over that.
Yeah, I'm fine with both lines. Sure, it sets you back a lot.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's actually that devastating because of the charge.
If you're Batteriez, you can banish the 5/5, Varus choice the hand, and then next turn setback plus Highwayman clears the board.
Yep.
We'll see if that's what happens, but he goes conservative.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's reasonable because it's really only Soulfire Drake, and even if they do have Soulfire Drake, you can clean it up with devastating setback.
Right. So that I think taking the safe line there, taking less damage is the way to go. As you said, if they had a Soulfire Drake, setback answers it regardless. And now you're only taking 4 damage this turn. Now you get to set back into Highwayman and gain life this turn, and that's huge.
So both players playing extremely conservatively this game.
And that goes back to them both playing out sabotages and having pretty good information about what's going on in the matchup. Where Batteriez needs to be the conservative player. Magikarp knows what a removal was still in his hand and was playing around it. It was more just trying to play around that, whether or not they had the Ion. That was the tough call. But yeah, and now we're in a race where Magikarp has the health advantage, but if Battery finds removal and gets a little more life gain out of this Highwayman, he's got a shot. But
I'm really favoring Magikarp in this position.
Yeah.
Even if Batteries kills Soulfire Drake, even if he had drawn removal there, Magikarp. Purify is a pretty good one. Purify is a pretty good one.
No, I agree that Magikarp was definitely favored in that position, but now Vicious Highwayman, that little bit of extra health, whiffing all that Quarry was a huge setback for Magikarp. And Quarry into Quarry is the follow-up.
Whoa, that's a big jack, though.
Yeah, it is. Well, Highwayman's not going to be swinging in until Batteries finds an Annihilator, Death Strike, or something, although I don't think it's a stretch to think all the Death Strikes are gone. And, oh boy, Battery needs something good soon, but here comes Highwayman. That's going to ping face, get +1 from Jack. Batteries is down to 2 and has to chump block a 10-8, and good luck coming back from this.
I mean, I don't think there's a card in... I mean, it's definitely not Torch, I'll tell you that much.
Torch ends the game, but maybe not in Battery's favor as it goes to his own face, and Magikarp takes this match.
Yeah, 2-1 here. That was a pretty good series, I think.
Yeah, I think that was really well played by both players. You know, Sabotage and Varus Choice and Quarry, these are all really skill testing cards because they make, you know, you have to figure out the timing of when to play them and then what to do with them. And I think both players were faced with a lot of difficult choices and did a good job of navigating those.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't get to see a lot of the cool new Gunslinger tech. We didn't get to really see Hideout Pistol or Ashara or anything like that, but that's because this isn't really the matchup for it. And we didn't really see any moment of creations, but we did see the deck doing what it's supposed to do, which is control and then winning in the late game.
Yeah, but it wasn't quite enough. Batteries got some of that life gain, but was just a little too far behind to start that last match with all the depleted power and kind of, you know, set up spells. could not close it out. And then Corey into Corey into Corey, finding the hammer that is Jack.
But yeah, I think that's the end of our round 1. So we're going to go to break, and then we'll catch you guys all back in round 2 of the ETS.